Hey y'all, time for our weekly little music theory type of lesson. That comes from my book, Mandolin Mysteries Solved, available on Amazon right now. But anyway, we only have really two scales left that are common. Now there are other scales. There are scales, especially from Chinese music or Indian music. I mean, different foreign scales. These are Western scales that we're working through, and there's a diminished scale and the whole tone scale, and I think I'll break it down in two parts because I don't want to get too out over our skis here. The reason I kind of lump these two together is because they're really more patterns than they are something you need to think about, if that makes any sense. All right, so when you play a diminished scale, you're probably going to play it over a diminished chord. We've talked about diminished chords. It's essentially what would you call it? You play, like, if I play a C diminished chord, I'm going to play the C, E flat, G flat, and flat, flat 7. So, okay. Diminished chords are usually passing chords. You're never, or rarely, are you going to play an entire diminished scale. Sometimes a song will sit on a diminished chord for maybe 4 beats. Still, though, don't feel like you have to play all 8 notes of a diminished scale on a 4-beat chord. That's kind of crazy, right? So the reason I say they're patterns, there are 2 ways of playing a diminished scale, and it's called the whole half or the half whole. All right, so the whole. Let me make sure I can see my notes here so I don't get them confused. Yeah. All right, so whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step. It just finishes just like that. So C, D, E flat, F, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C. Oh, it sounds so weird. And it does have a sort of more of an Oriental type sound to it, more of an Asian type sound. But if we were playing that in closed position, it becomes a lot more easy to see. Let's say if I start from here, I'm just going to go. Is that right? Yeah. From B to C? No, B, C. Got 1 note off. Yeah. So anyway, you can see I'm just repeating this pattern of whole step, half step, whole step, half step. So that's what's throwing me off. I would probably. What note is that? Oh, it's that F sharp. So it was it's hard to explain. It's so much easier to play because you're literally just going whole half, whole half, whole half. Let me see. I'll try to look at my notes when I'm doing it. C, D, E flat, F, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C. There we go. Yep. Yeah. All right. And write it down. You're going to have to practice it. And it's one that feels so weird to me. And like I said, you just rarely ever play more than a few notes of these scales over a passing chord if you need to. Now, it may open your ear to new sounds and you can get creative with it. You know, that's always the goal with scales. So the whole half is C, D, E flat, F, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C. Now, the other way of playing a diminished scale is the half whole. In that case, we're going to start with C, and this time we're going to put our half step there. Instead of going C to D, we're going C to D flat. Weird, huh? Yeah, I know. C, D flat, E, F sharp, G, A, B flat, C. You see the pattern now, right? C, D flat, E, F sharp, G, A, B flat, C. That one sounds a little more natural to my ear. It sounds less foreign and exotic. But the only thing you need to remember is if you need to play a couple of notes from a diminished scale, just pick whichever one you want to use, whatever note's going to sound natural. Like say I'm playing C here, just playing a C chord like this, right? But it's a diminished, so anyway. So one of the diminished notes is going to be an E flat, right? So if I'm going to play, I want to start with like an E flat here. I'm just going to go, right? If I was actually starting on the tonic note, I've got the option of maybe going. So fool around with it. I'll give you the notes one more time. The whole is C, D, E flat, F, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C. The half whole is C, I should have said the whole half and then the half whole. Remember, it's a whole step, then a half step, then a whole step, then a half step. The half whole is a half step, then a whole step, then a half step, then a whole step. C, D flat, E, F sharp, G, A, B flat, C. Write them down and just remember they're really more patterns. You actually don't have to think about these a whole lot. It's much harder to think about than to play. In my opinion, it's much harder to think about than to play. I mean, say I want to start on the F note, I could do. Yeah, I mean, it's not hard, but it is somewhat confusing, I think. Just remember, whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step till you get up to the next C. Or half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step till you get up to the next C. And if I haven't explained that before, a whole step is going 2 frets. This is music terminology. So from C to D is a whole step. From D to E flat is a half step. So oops, I missed the note. But anyway, yeah. Yeah, I messed up somewhere in there. These are not scales that I play a lot. These are theoretical scales for me. Pick one note out of there and either go from the whole step to a half step or a half step to a whole step is actually really easy. If I need to play those passing tones, I don't have to think about it. Like I said, it's a pattern. When you have to think about it, it gets quite confusing to me. But like I said, these are not scales you're going to see used a lot in real life. Gosh, what would be a good example? Frank Zappa liked to use scales like this. You know, if you think about how Frank Zappa's music sounded a little weird and a little different, he was big on things like diminished scales and whole tone scales and such as that. Most people, like, you're not going to play this in country music, you're not going to play it in blues, you're not going to play it in traditional jazz like Dixieland. Now, if you're playing, of course, modern jazz, progressive rock, it all goes out the window. And you may need to know that scale at that point. Just remember, it's actually quite simple. Whole half, whole half, whole half, or half whole, half whole, half whole. And it's one of those, probably the best advice on this is do not overthink it. Pick one, okay, and play it through like about a dozen times, 2 dozen times while you're watching television or your favorite YouTube video. Probably not a good to do it with a music video though. But just let those patterns get ingrained in your fingers and in your ear and your head. And it's just another matter of there are no wrong notes. I mean, between the whole half and the half whole, we just played almost every single note. Well, I think we did play all 12 notes of the chromatic scale. It's just a matter of arranging them so the ear predicts that next note. And like I said, I mean, you're not going to play these a lot. I mean, yeah, if you got a passage like that, then it might come in handy. It may not. It's totally up to you. I mean, just remember, diminished chord is essentially a minor 6. So if you want to think about it that way, and play over it with an arpeggio, that may be actually easier for you. Play 1 flat 3, flat 5, 6, or flat flat 7. That's actually a 6. So, it's really not that hard. Don't overthink it, just do it. And I'll talk to you all next time. Have a great week.